What's going on, everybody? Gentleman94 here. Welcome back to the final episode of the USS Enterprise E here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. This is part number 15, and if you can believe it, it's taken me 9 months to get this far. But we're almost done. Before we finish this off, though, and show you the final reveal, there's a couple of parts and pieces we need to paint, like the base. That's a very big part of it, but also some phaser arrays. Now, these are on the top of the saucer section, a couple in the back, and we have a couple in the very front. We also flip this over. We have very long phaser arrays here on the perimeter of the saucer section, here and also on this side. A couple in the back and one across the engineering hull itself. So we're going to go ahead and grab our paint and we're going to hand paint those. Now we're missing 4 actually, to be honest, which may be a good thing. There should be 2 on the bottom and 2 on the top and the very back of these pylons. They're not there. I did take a little bit of time, though, off camera and attempt to make my own by using some basic plastic strips. They don't really work. They look about the same length, but the profile is vastly different. And I don't want to take time and try to, take some sprue and try to carve that into the right shape and profile. I don't want to do that. So we're going to leave them off, and we're going to say that they weren't there. This is more or less an out-of-the-box build anyway, so we're not going to worry about it. Let's just throw them aside and move on to something better. Now, the base is the first real hurdle here because I don't really want to paint it as a normal symbol, like a Starfleet symbol. That would be gold and silver. I don't want to do that. I want to do something a little different. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some gloss black, and I'm going to go ahead and airbrush the entire base. I'm going to concentrate on the edges, make sure that all of the different areas are covered, because I have a plan for the center of this base. And we'll show you that at the end of the episode for sure. I'm going to use this black paint and we're going to cover the entire base. Make sure this is really snazzy looking. Now, the black paint that I have is Tamiya. It's X1, plain old gloss black, and I'm running out of it. So I've had to thin this quite a bit in order to get it to really cover, and I'm going to probably run out before I get this entire thing finished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on the edges and on the sides of this actual logo. The center section, I'll come back and I'll give it a nice overcoat, but I'm not too concerned about that because I plan on using something completely different for the center section of this base. Again, we're going to see that at the end of the video though. So let's go ahead and finish this off, and then we're going to get on to future after this dries. We'll probably give it about 6 hours to dry. Quick couple of coats, we are ready to go. Now it's time to bust out the future. If you haven't used Future, I would definitely highly recommend getting yourself a nice bottle because it is absolutely great. Now we're going to take our Future, we're going to pour it into the airbrush, and we're going to shoot it at about 12 psi. That's a pretty decent number. We're not going to thin it, we're not going to do anything else to it, we're just going to drop it in that airbrush and start spraying. I want to go ahead and cover the entire logo. Keep it nice and clean. We're going to give it a nice gloss hard shell. Future is great for that. So again, every corner, every turn, we're going to make sure everything is covered because I really want this to be stable, secure. I don't want to bump it into something and take off a huge chunk of paint because I might actually end up moving this thing eventually, and I don't want it to come into contact with something, scrape itself, or have any issue with the paint. So this black is a primer coat, and also the Future should protect that. While that dries off camera though, let's go ahead and move on to the phaser arrays, one of the last sections we have to paint on this particular kit. I'm using NATO black, and I got to tell you, this is going to be very tedious and very time consuming. So we're going to make a cut, of course, because I don't want you to watch all my foibles. We're just going to go ahead and paint everything here for the phaser arrays, both top and bottom, and then we're going to come back and I'll show you how it looks. Let's hope I have a steady hand, guys. This is going to be rough. All right, everybody, we are done. All of the phaser arrays are painted. It looks pretty decent. I'm not 100% accurate here in my lines, but it's good enough in a 3-foot roll. It's going to look fine in my display case. I'm happy with it. So let's go ahead and put that aside and start something a little different here. We're going to do a sludge wash, and I want to go ahead and try to darken some of these windows that litter the Enterprise. I want them to pop. I want to give them some definition, some variation. So I'm going to take my typical idea here for sludge wash. We're going to take some pastels. I'm just scraping off some of this black pastel. We're going to drop some dishwashing liquid in there, drop some water, mix it up, and then slather it on to the entire ship. I won't show that because you know how to work with sludge washes. You know how to work with that. You put it on, wipe it off, and it should stay in the recesses. So let's do it. It has been about 48 hours, and we have the base finished up. Now, as you can see, a very nice gloss black finish with a beautiful picture here in the center cut out and inlaid into the actual base. It's the sun coming up over horizon if you couldn't quite tell. The Enterprise, though, that's the real important part here. So let's take a look at it. We are done. The phaser arrays have all been painted. We've had a nice sludge wash over the entire surface. I really think that it helped in certain areas, and it actually didn't do much in other areas. So it's uneven, to be honest. But I think it works well enough. The ship itself looks beautiful. I'm not complaining. Now, overall thoughts on the kit itself. The fit, not so great. The saucer doesn't really go together very well. The fan decking doesn't really fit. The Bassard collectors just don't work. And the nacelle pylon connection, also not very good. They need some definite work to get this thing looking 100% movie accurate. But we are finished, and I am super excited and happy. Time to move on to bigger and better projects. Now, next episode, we're going to try to do something a little different. Something I haven't done here on the channel before, still sci-fi related, but something I've been desperately wanting to build. That'll be next episode. So thank you so much to each and every one of my subscribers. You guys are amazing. Please tune in next time for another edition of Sci-Fi Wednesdays. In the immortal words of Spock, live long and prosper, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Keep building and stay strong.